In Melbourne, 2023, the final whistle blew on a scoreless draw against Jamaica. Marta Vieira da Silva walked off the pitch in tears, realizing that her sixth World Cup attempt would be her last. This chart shows her World Cup goals accumulating over 2 decades. While she earned 6 World Player awards, her 17 goals surpass every player in tournament history, a record neither Pelé, Ronaldo, nor Miroslav Klose ever reached. It means that the most prolific striker to ever touch a soccer ball is walking away from the international stage without the game's ultimate team prize. Marta grew up in the 1990s in Dois Riachos, a parched municipality in northeastern Brazil. It was a place where women's soccer had been legally banned for decades, and the local culture still treated it as a sport for men only. She played on dirt fields with the neighborhood boys. Because her family couldn't afford equipment, she played barefoot, or wadded up paper to stuff into the toes of oversized cleats donated by a coach. At 14, she left her family behind for a 2-day bus ride to Rio de Janeiro. She had 1 day to prove herself in a trial for Vasco da Gama, knowing that failure meant a permanent return to the poverty of the North. She made the squad, but the triumph was short-lived. Just 2 years later, the club faced financial strain and chose to fold its entire women's program, leaving her without a team. At 18, the most naturally gifted talent in Brazil stood once again on a dirt pitch, facing the possibility that her career would end before it had truly begun. To stay professional, she moved 6,000 miles to the freezing climate of northern Sweden. Joining Umeå IK in 2004 provided the training resources and competition that her home country refused to provide. In Europe, her progression was near instant. She scored 111 goals in 103 matches, transforming from a desperate teenager into an untouchable offensive force by the 2007 World Cup. During the 2007 semi-final against the United States, she scored a goal that defied the physics of the era, flicking the ball over a defender's head while running at full speed and spinning past the rest of the back line. Back in Brazil, the late soccer legend Pelé watched her performance and officially bestowed her with a nickname that carried the weight of his own legacy, Pelé in a skirt. Heading into the 2007 final against Germany, a massive domestic audience in Brazil tuned in, certain they were about to witness a historic coronation. But the German defense held. Marta's peak individual performance ended with a 2-0 defeat, and her best chance at the trophy was snatched away by a more disciplined collective. That loss began an agonizing cycle. Marta led Brazil to 2 consecutive Olympic finals in Athens and Beijing, only to lose both matches in extra time. In both Olympic finals, her path to gold was blocked by the United States, a team that possessed the funding and infrastructure that Marta's squad lacked. This was her 2-front war. On the pitch, she fought elite international rivals. Off the pitch, she fought her own federation's chronic underfunding and institutional sexism. By the 2019 World Cup in France, Marta was 33. Her physical prime was ending, and the squad she carried was visibly aging and unreplenished. A loss to France in extra time ended the tournament. For the 4th time, Marta saw a global title slip away in the final moments of play. After the game, she delivered a plea directly to the camera, telling the girls in Brazil that the sport wouldn't have a Marta forever, and that its survival now depended entirely on their own willingness to endure. She spent the next 4 years in grueling rehabilitation, overcoming a severe knee injury, just to make a final appearance at the 2023 tournament. It ended in a quiet, anticlimactic draw against Jamaica. For the first time in 28 years, Brazil failed to even advance past the group stage. The finality was absolute. The most prolific goal scorer in the history of the sport will retire without a World Cup or an Olympic gold medal. In her final press conference, Marta looked back on a journey that began with 0 female idols to follow. She had spent 20 years being the reference point she never had. Her endurance changed the way Brazilian parents talk to their daughters. Today, they stop her on the street not to ask for an autograph, but to tell her that their children are starting soccer because of her. The lonely dirt pitches of her youth have been replaced by a national system that now includes over 300 professional clubs and a unified national team. Marta didn't fail to win a trophy for Brazil. Brazil failed to build a system worthy of Marta. But because she fought the system for 20 years, the generation she leaves behind is finally equipped to win.